Our next speaker has lived in Longmont for about 7 years on Sherman Street, which is the street moi lives on. But thanks to our neighborhood, we now have Steph and Steve in our neighborhood. But she is, as they call them, a Navy brat. She's lived in most of the western states at one point in time, including alphabetically Alaska, California, Hawaii, Montana, New Mexico, Washington, Wyoming, and colorful Colorado. Has no intentions of moving to Oregon or Idaho. She's stuck with us. We will keep her there. No way is she leaving. She's happy to be here. She's currently a librarian at the Erie Community Library, where she has had the good fortune to be a part of a team who opened the library 5.5 years ago. She has watched it grow with the community. When she's not working around books and trying to bring interesting programs to the library, she's running from the law. Right? Oh, I'm sorry. You remember, I promised not to bring up the witness protection thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Writing, walking her canine kids, Sophie and Cheese Dog.
Long story.
And cultivating her garden and community. And reading, of course. What else would a librarian do? And her talk tonight, the title is Little Free Libraries, Building Community, One Book at a Time. I give you live and in person, Steph.
Oh, thanks, Greg. Wow, that was quite an introduction. I wasn't expecting that. Trying not to be nervous. Okay, once upon a time, there was a Wisconsin school teacher by the name of Ludy Stearns. The Free Library Commission hired her to deliver books to small libraries in rural areas. And by the time she retired in 1914, she had grown it from 35 to 150 free libraries. And we will move right on. Enter Todd Bowl. Todd's on the right. His mother, like Ludy, was a teacher. When she passed away, he designed a memorial in the form of a little free library, and the idea just took off. And so he called his buddy Rick Brooks, and they started littlefreelibrary.org. Take a book, return a book. The idea was just ripe. It took off. Before they knew it, they had libraries all over Wisconsin and the Midwest, and their little staff of 2, which was the 2 of them there, grew to 9 pretty quickly in about less than 4 years. Now we've got little free libraries pretty much all over the globe, mostly concentrated in the United States, but we've got them, you know, in Nigeria, Canada, Lithuania, pretty much anywhere you can think of, we've got them now. And I happen to have one myself, and I'm very excited. So my friend Audrey, this is why I have this slide here. My friend Audrey travels a lot. She traveled to Seattle this year and found The Time Traveler's Wife, which was written by another Audrey in Seattle, and immediately texted me, asked me if I knew about these. I did not know about them at the time, and I was thrilled. So I immediately grabbed Steve. Steve picked up some materials at Resource, went immediately to see his family for the year in Minnesota, and he and his dad, Buzz, designed a miniature version of our 1928 cottage. I was then charged with getting us set up with the Little Free Library, painting it, and adding books. So, voila. Little Free Library, 6350, is now at 313 Sherman Street. Come check it out. It was all set up and ready to go, but we needed some signage on the street front, so Stephanie Hilvitz was nice enough to paint us a wonderful sign, and we are up and running. So, Rick Brooks once said, he's one of the leaders, that this is all about stories. It's about sharing stories, not just in books, but stories with one another and building new stories together. So at this point, I'm going to shift gears and talk about using, starting, and caring for little free libraries. So if you're like my buddy Audrey, you might travel a lot. Next time you travel, you don't have to take your Kindle or your iPad. You can just swing by a little free library. Go to the website. Click on the link on the front, find one in whatever area of the world that you're going to. Google Maps, I will admit, sometimes misses the brand new ones. They're a little slow getting them. Take a book, leave a book. It's totally that simple, non-obligatory. You want to take 2 books, take 2 books. You want to take a book and leave a book, you can. Or you can take the book, keep the book. It doesn't matter to any of us stewards. Or you can, you don't like the book, bring it right back. We have no opinion on what you read. Steve and I have thoroughly enjoyed this. So you can borrow, that's one way to go. Or you can start your own little free library, like that one in the corner. You would register it, you would build or you would buy one and get some books and get yourself going, pretty much. And Steve and I pretty much decided that we were going to register with them, which we did. And the fee's pretty minimal. It's like $35. But if you purchase a library from them, that fee is waived. It's nice because they have a lot of materials that you have access to, and you can supply them with photos and a story about your library. They post it on the map, and they also post it on Pinterest. Tons of options. So if you want to buy one from them, you can. Up in the top left-hand corner, you can buy a community kit, which involves several that you assemble together with your community. Or if you want to, the basic model's a little bit bigger. It's in the middle there. And you can buy it fully built or get the plans to build yourself. Steve and I opted to build our own, which these folks did. These are all in Colorado, by the way. You can get really creative. We've got a steward who repurposed a mailbox. We've got someone who added a living roof in Lakewood. In Loveland, there's one with French doors and a shingle roof, and I love that one from Centennial with the off-pitch roof. More ideas. Anybody who is a Doctor Who fan might recognize that blue TARDIS on the right-hand side. This one, I love this yellow one. I've got 3 slides of this, and that's from an architectural student in Manhattan. You crawl underneath to get the books, but you can see them from the windows. It's good to start off with some books in your library. My husband and I started with books from our own collection, and then I later purchased books from the library book sales to sort of bolster things in case I fell a little thin at some point. But there are other ways to get books. So as far as being a steward, Steve and I were so excited to get ours going. We did not have a formal quote-unquote opening, but they are big potlucks, and people have a really great time at these. I tend to check my library daily. It's good to check a library on a regular basis and have labels to sort of promote the cause. But there are details, so many things to consider. If you have a business, you can narrow it down by genre. If you live at a place with an HOA, that's something that you definitely need to consider, and I'm always happy to talk about that. I think businesses should have them. I mean, if you're the travel agency, have some travel books out front. So anyways, what's your story going to be? Rick had mentioned that, these stories are, what really are at the root of things, and I would say that's definitely the truth. Be a part of the story. Either use a library, stop by and say hi to a steward, whatever. If you want some more information, there you go. I also am always available as a steward and local authority at 313 Sherman Street. My door is always open. You'll usually find me out in the front garden, piddling around with plants, a dog at my heels. I may send you away with a book and a zucchini, so watch out.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is why we live in Longmont. Actually, it is interesting because living just across the street from Steph and Steve, it is interesting to see people driving by and all of a sudden you see them looking, wondering what's going on or what is this. I know when my wife Steph was painting it, it was fun because people would walk by wondering if she was vandalizing or actually doing something productive. And once I realized what it was, I quit stealing books from there at night. So,